At 91 years old, Air Force veteran Maurice Foley was one of the oldest veterans on this past month's Western Indy Honor Flight, joining hundreds of others on a journey to our nation's capital. A veteran of the Korean War era, he shared candid memories of his time in service and why the experience still matters all these years later. Kiona Rivera brings us his story in this week's Those Who Serve.
After learning about the honor flight that was flying out of Minot, Maurice Foley signed himself up for one main reason: to find his longtime friend, James Freet, on the Vietnam Memorial Wall at Washington, D.C.
My paperboy.
His son Dwayne found James's name.
That was a highlight of my life.
James was killed by a landmine just 2 weeks after arriving in Vietnam in 1967.
The news was nothing but protesters protesting the Vietnam War.
Maurice was devastated over the protests and the perception created about those who served. That's why he wrote about James and sent it to the local newspaper and radio station to honor his memory and ensure people understood his sacrifice.
Newspaper.
Looking back at his 4 years in the Air Force, Maurice recalls some of his best moments, like providing security for President Eisenhower.
Him and Mrs. Eisenhower, she come out and ran up the steps and went right in.
Half of his flight was deployed to Korea for air-based defense. Maurice stayed behind to work on the jets in Amarillo, Texas.
And here, 3 bombers were coming from north up by Alaska with no flight plan. They felt they were Russians coming.
Fast forward to 2020, he was hospitalized. Despite doctors telling him he wouldn't make it, Maurice lives a full life today, collecting binders of photographs, some nearly a century old.
He's one of these here.
He remembers his late wife, Lynn, the woman he crossed the country for in the early 50s just to buy her a ring.
Most important day of my life.
After the service, he was a North Dakota Highway Patrol. He even remembers how much he made each month during that time.
$275 a month.
I had a chance to speak with Dwayne, one of Maurice and Lynn's 6 children, right before we boarded to return to Minot on the honor flight. He wheeled his dad around D.C., cherishing the moments that would last a lifetime.
It was so nice to see all the young kids that were out, that were welcoming and thanking all the veterans.
When they arrived back home, Maurice says he was amazed by the crowd. This time, people were holding signs, not in protests, but in gratitude.
We knew it was going to be short, but they had it so organized, so good.
He set out to remember a friend and reminded us what it means to live a full life. In Minot, I'm Kiona Rivera, reporting for your news leader.
Just an incredible life story, and we do thank him for his service. Now, Kiona's story last week, recapping the honor flight, allowed for the Freet family to get in touch with Maurice. They plan on meeting in person in the coming weeks. Maurice also served 24 years on the Ward County Resource District, where he followed the NAWS project, and then he was longtime commissioner on the North Dakota State Water Commission.